think AI right now is getting pretty scary good. Like in the sense of it's getting like perfect shot for like your portraits, your pets, and like simple like repetitive studio shot done right. But the thing is they are too perfect. They looks like digital generated. But give it another 5 years time, it will make the imperfections into their models. They train it with a bigger database, and then by that time, like AI can generate perfect studio shot.
I'm Freddie Launcha,
My name is Casper.
and
Ciao.
this is the Post Definitions podcast. We're super excited to be here.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thank you for coming. So, Casper and I and our friend Joe are gonna do a photography day today, and we thought, what a better way to start off with some photography, some audio, and just having a chat about what photography means to us and our identity and maybe art in general.
And I'm Joe.
So, what can you do that AI can't do now, and what it will never be able to do? Two different questions.
Right. Okay. Well, it's the question like what AI can do right now and what it can do in the future. I think AI right now is getting pretty scary good. Like in the sense of it's getting like perfect shot for like your portraits, your pets, and like simple like repetitive studio shot done right. But the thing is they are too perfect. They looks like digital generated. But give it another 5 years time, it will make the imperfections into their models. They train it with a bigger database, and then by that time, like AI can generate perfect studio shot, and lots of like job opportunity for like photographer we've definitely lost. I'm not that kind of photographer say, oh yeah, we still got upper hand. We still gotta be able to like have our creativity. Yes, in a way, but also means like lots of like job opportunity will also be taken by AI as well. Like product shop, like you go to like using your phones, take a photo of something, and just rendering it to make it looks perfect with like perfect studio lights. Is the background perfect for this website? Is it like grayish? Is it like pure white? They can just like rendering everything this day. Like in 5 years time, in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think there will be like new artistic jobs created that don't even exist now?
There will be a lot of job taken, but like for artists, I think they are less worrying because like in a way they are more require human creativity. There's still something that like artists can be more like in a sense of like the perfect moment of their emotions to express themselves, to be able to make it your own work, which is not like for machine to like learning in this database to be able to generalize. It's a kind of having a more sincere human touch to be able to get that perfect art, to make connection with the audience, which AI lack.
Yeah, and creating something totally new.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you think that's you're saying artist in contrast to photographer?
Yeah, and photographer wise, for things where you go outside to like take creative stuff like campaign shot, that would be harder to replicate because it's a bit more like also a bit more creativity in that. You want to play with your lights, you want to mix with your still lights and your constant lights, to be making a bit more like painting almost. But for to generalize something a bit more like studio shot, e-commerce shop, very standard stuff, yes, AI can totally do that.
You were just saying that you are used to arts being something where you're in an English class and you're kind of told, do this, and now you're doing photography and no one's telling you what to do. What's is photography? It's art. It's creative.
Yeah, it's like expressing myself in like creative way, just doing things differently. Because back when I went to high school and like I also went to art class to draw, like what you were taught is just like you follow a rote learning kind of principle, like follow the speech, read it out, memorize it, keep doing it. And also in art school it was kind of the same when I first started. It was like you start with a few copies of things and then you just outline them, trace them out, and then you just follow a very set procedure of like copying, replicating what it is there. And I feel like that wasn't like very like liberating for me. It was just like I wanted to express myself more. But then now having this freedom as an adult, I feel like I get the opportunity to, but I also bring along the previous experiences of it, because like I know now that like what it builds up from like replicating things is that it develops your skill, like initial base skills, and then once you have those skills built up to a certain level, you can extrapolate upon that and then express yourself more creatively. So it's a good base for me, but at the same time it's like going through that process was pretty difficult, and I felt like it was just very tedious, repetitive, but you kind of have to grind to get to be able to create works that are more appreciated by people, is how I see things.
Yeah, that's a really interesting perspective. I've had the same experience, more or less, and it's interesting that it sucks that we make kids go through that process, because kids have this natural childlike tendency to actually be creative.
For sure.
And then when you're old, you kind of have to fight for it. It doesn't come as naturally.
Yeah.
But it was like squeezed out of you as a kid. Do you think that, how was that process of like re-emerging your creative self after it was sort of squeezed out of you as a kid?
Yeah, I feel like it's like a breath of fresh air. You get to like express the side of you that you didn't really get to express back when you just conform to like what was the normal, the standards. You can just really like expand on the creativity and just like be more spontaneous is what I think is important. You just have a look at things. It's like, oh, that looks nice. Pick up your camera, take it out, just take a photo. I like that kind of spontaneity where it's like no one needs to tell you what to do and you just like do it because you just feel like doing it. So I feel like you should express creativity.
Definitely. Do you ever still find yourself putting too much pressure on yourself when you're trying to create something?
Yeah, sometimes I'm just like, oh, is the lighting right? Is the setting right? And just like all these constraints and stuff. We're just like, oh, what if it doesn't look good? Or just like, just always have these thoughts. It's like, oh, it's not going to be perfect. But like, I think I'm starting to learn to just let go of those like thoughts and just like go for the moment and just like, capture it. It's like, okay, see how it goes, try a few things. And I think the most important thing is just to keep doing it, keep going at it, rather than just like, because I have this bad habit of just like always anticipating, just fearing like, oh, this is not going to be turned out very good. I think the more important thing now is just to keep trial and error, keep trying new things, then learning from it and then adapting it. So that's something I really learned recently.
Yeah, not letting fear of failure get in your way.
Pretty much.
Yeah, because there's not even really a goal here. Do you have a goal when you do photography?
It's more just like expressing myself and just like a way of just relieving stress from work and like other things. It's just a way of just like, treating yourself to be a bit happy. It's like, oh, this looks nice. I want to take a photo of it.
Yeah.
Or to make it look nicer.
Is it like expressing the things you like? Like you're like, you want to, like what people throw around the word like expressing yourself. What does that mean to you?
It's just like what I feel in the moment.
Yeah.
It's just like what I see and it's like makes me feel happy or like just like looks good. It's just very spontaneous for me, I guess. Not very structured or like out of anything.
That's what I love about photography as well. It seems pretty easy compared to something like painting. Because you see something, you like it, you snap it, it's done. Whereas painting, it's a whole like you see something, you obviously have to have the skill, that background you were talking about, and then you have to spend a lot of time doing it. And during that process is where I would run into like the whole like, oh, is this shitty? Like, is this worth my time? Like, should I just
Yeah.
stop in the middle? I do that with pretty much everything I write.
Mm.
I'll like have some ideas, I was like writing them down, and then I'll just be like, this sucks, I'm gonna stop.
Yeah, but it's good that you just keep trying it and just
Yeah.
like, yeah, keep pushing yourself to just keep doing things, I guess.
Yeah,
That's good.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you have moments like that with photography?
Yeah, definitely. I'm just like, oh, I didn't take a good. It's too blurry. Oh, the settings were wrong. I'm just like, oh, wish I did it better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially with something like Joe's using this film camera. Did you ever try that?
I do have one myself, but I never really played around with it.
Okay.
But it's like, yeah, it's something I was looking into, but then I kind of like stopped because it's like going to be an expensive rabbit hole to dive further down into. But definitely something that's more interesting because like the process is like very different, and some of the film colors is like, it's just like very beautiful. It's like expressive, different than what you can recreate with digital. Like with digital, you can recreate it, but it's not the same.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
were just talking about that. But yeah, I was just thinking that
Yeah.
that would put even more pressure because you would be like, oh, I had this one opportunity and
You
I
have this one
fucked it up.
opportunity. Yeah, it's a lot more pressure with those ones.
Yeah.
And also like how film cameras are built. It was like back in, I don't know, when they were built in like the 70s or something, it was like built to last rather than the current cameras which are like use cheap kind of plasticky. Like the film camera I have is like a Konica or the Focus one. It's like made of like some material that looks like it's like gonna last for like 100 years or so. Whereas the modern, more consumerism type of camera products is like lifespan's like 3 or 4 years because there's this cycle of like you got to buy new products every few years. I think also adds like a different kind of pressure.
Yeah.
So I just really appreciate film cameras and like the old style because like they had different values back in the time, which were more like, yeah, less consumerism.
Yeah, true. But it does become consumeristic in the sense that it costs money and
for the film.
yeah. Yeah, interesting. And then what about your collection of nice camera stuff? Did that happen overnight, or did you sort of have to play around with some lesser nice cameras before you invested in like?
Yeah, so Dad had an old Canon camera and also some of those like really old style like film cameras as well that we played around with before. So I enjoyed playing around with those as a kid and just like taking random snaps. And then I think it was like before COVID or so, I was like starting to get into it a bit more. And I think a few years back was like when the smartphone's camera started getting really good. I started like using those to take some photographs of flowers and like they had the macro mode and everything. It was just like, yeah, it's like pretty cool. All these look nice. And then eventually it just turned to me just like wanting a camera for like more control over the lighting and more like creative input into it. And also like I like using Lightroom and stuff to like the post-production to like completely change the mood of something. And yeah, it just came from there, and I picked up the Sony A7C, which is my main camera right now, to like, yeah, because I just wanted something that was able to capture a lot of detail, and then you can just like fine-tune it to your kind of style.
Yeah, that's really cool. Sounds like it's worth it. Do you ever take photos of people?
Yes, on the trip, some of my friends, they wanted me to take portrait photos, so I've been learning about how to do that. Yeah, it's a new, because I usually take photos of just landscape and like, just like walking around, but it's something new that really happened on the trip, because I was traveling with a few friends, they wanted some nice photos for Instagram and everything, so I started to kind of like experiment with those and learn with those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was that?
It was good. It's like a completely different experience from what I'm used to taking, and it was like a lot of learning on how to like angle it properly so people look nicer.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
It seems like you're pretty open to doing new things. You're even saying that you're not much of a public speaker, and here we are.
Here we are, eh?
Which is so awesome. So like you're gonna come out of this a better person, I suppose.
Yeah, thanks for that.
So good.
Yeah, awesome.
But so this trip, it's like really fresh in your mind because you just came back. Where did you go?
Went to Taiwan and Hong Kong.
Yeah, nice. And you went to explore like art exhibits and maybe photography. Did you see photography?
I did a bit of street photography when I was in Hong Kong.
Oh, nice.
And it was like raining, so I took advantage of the puddles and then the neon signs.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was like, I kind of like that night city kind of vibe.
Yeah, I saw some of those pictures on your Instagram
Yeah.
before you went. When you look at art, do you do you look for how it sort of relates to you, or you just look and say, like, what is your thought process when you go to museums and you see other people's art, other people's photography?
So if I see other people's art, I look at what it's from, like who the artist is and what they're trying to express, and then seeing how they're expressing it and kind of just appreciating the process they went through to create it, and just like general aesthetics as well. It's really interesting seeing like all the different types of artworks I saw in the Taiwan museums and contrasting to the ones in Hong Kong. Some of the interesting ones I saw were like a blend of the old Chinese characters they had there, along with a modern taste in it. Like they did different colors and like lots of use of new modern material to express themselves more creatively. It was like a fusion of like the old and the new in this new kind of sense, which was really interesting.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I feel like that definitely sounds like those people were expressing their experience, because they are caught in between these times, right? Yeah, so interesting. Would you ever want to try to do some sort of exhibition, or is it just for your personal? What do you want to do with your photography?
Oh, so for now it's just like a personal kind of thing, because I'm still figuring out what kind of style I like. But once I figure out something that like kind of have a theme, like a collective, then I'll probably want to do exhibits. But I'm still like experimenting in the experimental stage, just like don't really know what I want to settle on kind of thing.
Yeah, that's it. What would you do if you didn't have to work your current job? What do you think you would do with your time?
Just travel the world.
Yeah.
Just take photos and just like use my drone, make some cinematography, like very scenic places. I really like those like eye in the sky kind of shots, like the videos, just like showing the whole vast nature, the beauty, or maybe an entire city escape kind of shots.
Damn.
Yeah, those like really appeal to me.
Did you see some beautiful nature before?
Yeah, back when I went to China a few years ago in Lijiang, the water was like so beautiful there in the lakes. And I was just like, I had my drone back then as well, and it was like, just really nice, scenic. The colors were really nice. You didn't need to edit anything. They came out like perfect. It was like, surreal. And then getting that bird's eye view was like something you don't normally get with like when you're just standing on the ground and stuff. And it's appreciating it from the sky, like you see the whole vastness of it. It's just like completely different level. Like before drones, you would just have to go on a helicopter ride, and those were like super expensive. But now you just have your little eye in the sky, and just like, wow, taking it in is nice.
Sounds like you do a good job of like appreciating that, like once in your life you saw that, and that was just so beautiful. But do you ever wonder, like when you're sitting in the office or sitting in like Sydney or like living the same things over, do you ever wonder like, wow, if that place is still there, why am I not there?
For sure, 100%.
Yeah, just curious about like how people express themselves through photography a bit, because sometimes I like take photos, but I feel like the photos don't really have anything to do with me, because I'm just like walking around and I'm snapping shots. I don't feel like I'm expressing myself. I feel like I express myself through writing, I guess, because they're like my own words. I'm creating something from scratch. But you think I
think it's like you got to figure out something that's different from what everyone else is doing. That's something that stands out, that really defines you. Like, I'm not sure how to express this properly either, but it's just like, it could just be like a type of shot, like say, it's just like up in the air, just like take photos of like a few skyscrapers and things and like trees, like, and then I don't know, it's like very hard to express, I guess. It's like some kind of niche thing that like really hones in on like a certain element that's common, creating a theme around it that's really you. I think that's the kind of general concept, because everyone's very different, have different ways of expressing themselves. It's a very hard concept to kind of like iterate into words, but it's just like finding a theme that just like recurs, that you feel enthusiastic about doing every time. So I think a few photographers I follow, they do like a very specific kind of wide kind of landscape shots, and that's like what they do, and they submit those to the art competitions and win awards for those, and like that's the kind of style they go for. There's also the animal photographers who do like use this really big long lens, like a 400mm or something, and they take those really close-up shots of like birds, like at really high speeds, and you can see the real detail on like them flying. So that's another way of expressing yourself, like in the subject of your photography, I guess. I guess those ones who take more photos of like birds and aviations, like show the wings of freedom kind of vibe. There's also those jungle safari ones, so just like exotic animal spotting.
And what about you?
Me, I just like doing a bit of everything.
Yeah.
Landscape. Recently, it's like taking photos of people got me kind of interested. And like how teaching people how to pose and just like standing and just taking it from the right angles and stuff. I'm still kind of like in the process of finding what style suits me, but maybe all of them do. I don't know.
I was just about to say, I think that
Yeah.
if I were to try to express myself through photography, I would need to show someone like 1,000 photos.
Yeah.
Because I would need to be like, well, here's one landscape one, and here's a portrait one,
Yeah.
and here's like, oh, I actually am interested in every single one of these. So in order to cover my whole personality, I need to like really cover all the little like it's like this uncovering this picture of myself. And to get the corners is to do stuff just vastly different from one thing to the other.
Yeah, because like if photography is an identity for you, like you have different photography interests, like you said portrait and like landscape and everything. They're all part of the bigger picture. It's all one part of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people throughout my life, I've heard this thing being said that don't do what you love because then it will become a chore or a job and you won't love it anymore. But here you are after a week of working in photography and film, and many weeks, and on a Sunday we're going out to shoot for fun. How do you feel about that statement, and how do you stay loving it?
I think it's come from sincere passion about what you love, really. Something is like lasts longer than just like a few, not like impulse, like passion, like something that you always want to do. Not like something that I think I gotta do it for a few months and try out. Maybe that's my thing. Maybe it's not like that. It's a bit more like throughout your childhood, your growth, and then you feel like this thing is always something that when I pick up a camera, I always feel this joy of like all this like almost asthma kicking on all the knots and stuff. It makes you happy instantly. Yes, it sometimes get bored when you're shooting like 200 like model shot in a day, changing like 100 clothes. Sometimes you got a bit bored, but also it's just the thing that you have to do to get through, to pay the bill. But also it can be separate for what you're passionate about. After you go home, you can shoot something that you really like, and that is why I keep it like still in love with photography.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So just because work shows you sometimes a shittier side of the passion, it doesn't mean that you can't grab onto the thing you really love about it again.
Yeah,
So
perfect.
yeah, amazing. So thank you so much, Joe.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, great conversation. And I'm excited for the day.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye.
Cheers.
Cool. Let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much, Casper.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for this conversation. It was very nice.
Yeah, great way to start the day,
Beautiful.
and I'm
Yeah.
excited to get into some expressing ourselves through photography and exploring what you guys have to teach me.
Yeah, keep on some exploring. Just like snapping shots that show up.
Sick.
Yeah.